On the news at 7, security operatives in Ondo State mount watertight surveillance over attack alert on Laramoki as candidates jostle for admission into public secondary schools. Tomorrow, Ondo State government warns against lateness to examination centers. President Buhari condemns offensive on mining sites in Niger State, sends security agencies after perpetrators. American President Biden accuses Supreme Court of sabotaging efforts at tackling climate crisis. Good evening and welcome to the news at 7. I am Akinwumi Abotinde. Tonight we begin with that issue that has become a very tough nut to crack. The Ondo State Police Command and the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps have provided more insight into the reported letter allegedly written to alert Laramoki of a possible attack. The security spokesperson said contrary to the rumor that a letter was written to the community of an imminent attack, it was simply an inscription written on the chalkboard of a classroom in one of the primary schools in the community. Notwithstanding the genuineness of the inscription, security agencies have said they have put measures in place to protect lives and property in the community.
We are coming to pick the students. The inscription found on the chalkboard of one of the classrooms at a primary school in Laramoki, the federal local government area of Ondo State, is still generating reactions among residents. The words, believed to have been written by suspected attackers, continues to unsettle the people who fear a possible attack on the school and by extension the community. The public relations officer on Ondo State Police Command, Fumilayo Odunlami, and her NSCDC counterpart, Daniel Aidamembo, who confirmed that the inscription was found in a classroom, said the issue might have been blown out of proportion, out of panic.
Might have written that stuff, got into that class via the window, and what was written on the board was, "We are coming to pick the students by OBO to OKO." So when the teacher saw it, he called the attention of the principal and the headmistress rather. So the headmistress also reported at the police station. That's Laramoki police station. We had a press release warning people about it. We had a case of someone raising a false alarm around Ijoka in Akure. We had another one around Usho in our area. And just this one at Ilara. We want to tell our people it is not good for anybody. Why do you want to stop the peace being enjoyed in the state?
That is where we want us to, that is the position we want everybody in Ondo State to be. We don't want us to take things for granted, no matter how small, no matter how irrelevant it might look like. It is better you escalate it to the security personnel so that they can do their job. So when we got the report, we sent our men there, and that was the true position of things. It was not like there was a letter written to the community. That was just the inscription they saw and they were agitated. So we met with the school authority. From there we moved to Elizabeth University. We met with the CSO of that university. We had a security discussion with them, what they need to do, what they need to put in place. And my state commandant, Dr. Ahmed Aboduri, ensured that the quick response squad is stationed right there at Ifedore, doing what we call routine patrol of that environment in order to forestall any breakdown of law and order.
While assuring people of the community of adequate security notwithstanding, a spokesperson urged residents to always report suspicious persons and movements to security agencies for prompt action.
Let's now move to education. Common entrance examination into Ondo State public secondary schools will hold tomorrow at designated centers. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Mrs. Lola Amuda, said the placement examination will hold across the 18 local government areas by 9 a.m. Mrs. Amuda enjoined parents and guardians to ensure that their children and wards get to the examination centers early in the morning, as accreditation of candidates begins by 8 a.m. All candidates are to come to the examination centers with their registration slips and writing materials. Still on education, the federal government has stressed the need to further embrace and support the National Business and Technical Examination Board, NABTEB. The call comes as about 88,000 candidates are sitting for the ongoing 2022 NABTEB certificate examination nationwide. The government said the essence of the examination was to promote skills among youths in the country, noting that technical education is important for national development. Minister of Education Adamu, who stated this while monitoring the NABTEB examinations in company of the Registrar and Chief Executive of NABTEB, Professor Ifoma Isiugo Abanihe, said those who could not fit into the country's formal sector would have the opportunity to get involved in the informal sector through education that emphasizes skills acquisition. According to him, those who cannot go to university will have the skills to carry them along, adding that this remains the only way out of the current high level of unemployment in the country. Away from education, Ondo State Internal Revenue Service, ODIRS, has remitted 30 million naira which accrued to the 18 local government areas from the tax collection on radio and television licensing fee and land use charge. The chairman of ODIRS, Mr. Tolu Adegbie, during the check presentation to the Ondo State chapter of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, said 104 million naira was generated between December 2021 and May 2022. The Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Ondo State Council, has elected Mr. Meshak Olaoluwa of the State Information Chapel as Secretary of the Union. Meshak was elected unopposed during the by-election of the Union held yesterday at the Press Center, Akure. Swearing in the new secretary, the chairman of NUJ in the state, Leke Adigbiche, charged him to be a team player with other EXCO members and work for the entire journalists in the state. Meshak, who is the immediate past chairman of the State Information Chapel, started his journalism career at Ondo State Radio Vision Corporation, OSRC. You're watching the news at 7. You can also watch us live on our website, www.osrc.ng, or follow us on Facebook, OSRC TV Ondo, and on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel, OSRC TV Ondo. Stay with us.
Brekete times 10. Get a Glow SIM today and enjoy 1,000 Naira sign-on bonus for voice and data. All new and existing Glow subscribers also get 10 times the value of their every recharge, plus up to double their data recharge as bonus. All Glow subscribers also get up to free 20,000 Naira bonus for voice and data.
Thank you for staying with us on the news at 7. Let's go to electoral matters. The Independent National Electoral Commission has extended the ongoing continuous voter registration indefinitely. The exercise was initially scheduled to end on June 30. INEC National Electoral Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, said all resident electoral commissioners and electoral officers have been directed to continue with the exercise pending further directives from the Commission. Okoye said the Commission had consistently reiterated its resolve to continue to provide electoral services to Nigerians by registering all eligible persons. Meanwhile, over 10 million new voters have registered in the ongoing continuous voter registration exercise across the country. This is according to the update released by INEC on Monday, June 27th. Zahid Aribisala reports that the figure is destined to rise further as many Nigerians continue to throng registration centers in a bid to become eligible voters come 2023.
For Messrs. Nkechi Adebayo, who last voted in 1993, 2023 general election is an opportunity she does not want to miss, regardless of the challenges attached to getting a permanent voter card.
I voted last now since MK Abiola, that was 1993. Since then I have not been voting because of this card issue. So this year I make up my mind again that I want to vote. So I've registered since February now, and I'm still looking for the card.
Data update from the ongoing continuous voter registration exercise by Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for the fourth quarter shows that over 10 million Nigerians have registered. Indications that this figure will rise further is evident in the recent turnout of Nigerians to INEC offices. Here at the headquarters of the Commission in Ondo State, the change in narrative means INEC staff are preoccupied with handling myriads of requests by those who hope to vote in 2023. To meet these demands means constant power supply and internet connectivity.
I've been here since morning, around after 7.
Ever since I've been in this world, I've never done anything like PVC because I'm just running for the stretcher, but now I'm happy that I own one.
I never knew they've started. I was thinking that initially they used to come to the street to come and issue it for us. I never knew they were staging it at the INEC headquarters in Akure here in Ondo State. So that is the reason why I kept late.
I lost my previous voter's card. That is why I want to vote, so that my vote will count.
INEC's head of voter education and publicity in Ondo State, Mrs. Olufumike Shegun Oshifeso, said the 11th hour syndrome among Nigerians is responsible for the recent surge.
It is in the character of us Nigerians to come last minute. You know, we have the last minute rushing. When we've been conducting this registration exercise since June last year, and this is another June here, in about a year. There have been instances where we have stayed the whole week and we don't have any registrants coming in to register. Now that we want to end the registration, now there's so much crowd here. But anyway, we are up to the task. We are putting all efforts to make sure that everybody is registered. On the issue of the PVC, we are issuing now the PVCs as well. All the local government offices have the consignment of the PVCs, and anybody that goes there will be able to collect their PVCs.
Supporting INEC in this task are non-governmental organizations who say the advocacy must emphasize the need for voters to turn out on election day.
We take people from their house, bring them to INEC offices, and take them back to their house once they are done with their registration. So what we did is, when we reached a consensus with INEC, they gave us 2 IVL machines with their staffs. So the people we mobilize and bring them down to this place, they get them registered.
When some people don't have their PVCs and we are able to get them to INEC office to get their PVCs, that is when we can tell them to come out to vote. It is someone that has a PVC that can vote.
While the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has confirmed that there will be an extension to the June 30th deadline for registration, the actual date for the closure of the window of opportunity for Nigerians still hangs in the balance. But regardless, the people here and many more who will still come are hopeful that they will seize the avenue to register and become voters come 2023. From the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Akure, Sahid Aribisala, Osrc News.
Thank you, Zaid. Let's return to our story on taxation. Ondo State Internal Revenue Service has remitted 30 million naira, which accrued to the 18 local government areas from tax collection on radio and television licensing fee and land use charge. The chairman of ODIRS, Mr. Tolu Adegbie, during the check presentation to the Ondo State chapter of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, said 104 million naira was generated between December 2021 and May 2022. Osrc's Zahid Aribisala again reports.
Between the month of December 2021 and May 2022, Tax collectors of the Ondo State Internal Revenue Service traversed the 18 local government area for the collection of radio and television licensing fee and land use charge. This meeting, which has in attendance the representatives of the state government, that of the Ondo State Internal Revenue Service, as well as chairmen of local government areas, is to present the check accruing to the third tier of government from the collection. Ondo State Accountant General Mrs. Esther Oni, who was represented by the Deputy Director, Credit Services, Mrs. Riskat Oguleye, presented the check to the Ondo State Chairman of Association of Local Government of Nigeria. The Chairman, ODRS, Mr. Tulu Adegbiye, said 104 million naira was generated within the months. He said the state government gets 70 million naira, the local government 30 million naira, while the ODRS, which is the revenue collector, takes 4 million.
This money so collected is not reported as part of the revenue generated by the state. No, this is purely revenue generated from the local government. So today we also be presenting the sum of 15 million to the local government for sharing between the 18 local governments of the state. So each of these funds, even though we're giving them a check now, but we're going to creating the account of each local government directly.
The Algon chairman, Mr. Augustine Oloruntogbe, who appreciated Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu for enhancing the operations of ODRS, solicited a review of the sharing formula to allow the local government get 40% of generated fees.
Solicit using this opportunity to solicit their support. So,
the Permanent Secretary, Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Mr. Shegun Odusoya, said the funds will further help in provision of needed amenities at the grassroots.
I want to assure you that according to cooperation that aspect, we can't wait for the monthly meeting we do during the revenue service. It's giving a lot of results. It's resolving a lot of issues pertaining to taxation of the state and to the overall development of the state.
The concerned parties are upbeat that the continuous collaboration will herald more development in the state. Sahida Aribisala, Osrc News.
The organized labor movement in Nigeria has concluded plans to hold a protest on the state of the nation. The protest is to call the attention of the government to the country's deteriorating security situation, the lingering strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, and the unending energy crisis. Speaking at two separate conferences in Abuja, the president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Ayuba Waba, and the president of the National Union of Local Government Employees, Ambali Olatunji, decried the worsening security situation in the country and asked the government to act. NLC President Ayuba Waba said the Central Working Committee of the NLC has decided that there will be a one-day national protest to call the attention of the government to resolve the issues immediately. The Labour leaders also discussed other issues, including the ongoing constitution amendment, especially the aspect that touches on the autonomy of local governments and the judiciary. President Muhammadu Buhari has described the attack on a mining site in Niger State as a direct assault on Nigeria, which will not go unpunished. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, said the nation's leader was troubled that apart from the attack, which reportedly left 13 policemen and civilians killed, with several missing, including 4 Chinese nationals, the terrorists also ambushed a team of soldiers who responded to a distress call. The president, who assured victims of the attack that they will get justice, said his administration is working hard to bring perpetrators of the heinous crimes in the country to book. As implementation of the executive order on the installation of CCTV cameras in public places takes off in Ondo State, Osrc was in town to assess the level of compliance. While some public facilities already have the gadgets installed, others are bracing up for the installation in compliance with the order. Osrc's Richard Ilesomi, who went round Akure, the state capital, said concerned stakeholders expressed readiness to comply.
Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu had recently issued an executive order for compulsory installation of CCTV in public places in view of the prevailing security situation in the state. With the countdown to the deadline taken off today, Osrc was in town to ascertain the level of compliance with the August 1 deadline. While there was no sight of any CCTV being installed as at the time of filing this report, some of the stakeholders engaged expressed their readiness to comply with government's order. The chairman of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria in Ondo State, Joshua Opayinka, said the instruction has been passed across to members to ensure the installation of the gadgets in their churches.
We have instructed our people to comply with that instruction, with that policy. Well, it is for our safety that we insert CCTV into all our place of worship. Well, looking at the cost, we have various types of CCTV. Even we have the one at 15,000 naira rate, and we have the one that is more exorbitant than that. So, depends on your capacity.
Senior Special Assistant to Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu on security matters, Jimoh Dojumo, said government will ensure the effective implementation of the order.
We are actually monitoring compliance, and we expected people to comply. So, where we think we are having problems with compliance, we will be enforcing it. We shall enforce it, but for now, we are monitoring. It has just started, hence we are monitoring compliance.
For emphasis again, why should they install this? The order has August 1st deadline, as compliance with this order is necessary to augment other security measures in place for protection of lives and properties. Richard Ilesomi, Osrc News.
A federal high court in Abuja has ordered the release of the official details of David Nwanmini to former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and his wife Beatrice. Justice Inyang Eko, who gave the order in a ruling, directed the Nigeria Immigration Service, the National Identity Management Commission, and 2 commercial banks to release Nwanmini's details in their possession to the couple. This followed an originating summons filed by Ekweremadu and his wife through their counsel at Adegboyega Awomolo. The couple are being detained by the United Kingdom authorities over allegations of conspiring to bring a child to Britain for organ harvesting, with Nwanmini as the victim. Following their arrest by London Metropolitan Police, the duo appeared before a UK court which ordered that they should be remanded in custody till July 7, while investigations continue into the allegations against them. Although the Met Police said Nwanmini was 15, the NIS said it issued an international passport indicating his age as 21 after due process. In a bid to clear his clients of the allegations, Awomolo approached the court in Abuja seeking an order directing the NIMC to produce the certified true copy of the biodata of David Upo Nwanmini. Still with the courts, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Soho, has announced the commencement of the annual vacation of the court for 2022. The annual vacation, according to the Chief Judge, will begin on July 25 and end on September 16, while court proceedings will resume September 19, ushering in the 2022-2023 legal year. A statement by the Assistant Director of Information, Federal High Court of Justice of Nigeria, Catherine Obi Christopher, said during the period, the court will sit in only 3 geographical divisions of Abuja, Lagos, and Port Harcourt to hear matters of extreme urgency. The federal government has signed an agreement with the United Kingdom on tackling illegal migration in line with Britain's new policy on immigration. UK Home Office, Britain's lead department for immigration and passports, drugs, crime fighting, counter-terrorism and police via its verified Twitter handle, explained that the new agreement is aimed at deterring illegal migration. The UK Home Office said the agreement would enable both countries work closer on supporting safe and legal migration and speeding up the removal of foreign criminals. Moving to the foreign scene, efforts to get Ukraine's grain out to world markets to control food inflation was at the center of the NATO summit held in Madrid. The UN, along with Turkey, had been working on a plan to get the grain that is trapped inside Ukraine out through the Black Sea using the Turkish Navy to escort the ships. The plan is also for Russian grain and fertilizer to be brought back to world markets. President Tayyip Erdogan at a news conference said plans are proceeding well.
We will continue to conduct phone diplomacy with Mr. Vladimir Putin and Mr. Vladimir Zelensky this weekend or beginning of next week. We already have a roadmap that has been put in order. We will contact them and try to realize this grain corridor as soon as possible.
In the United States, President Joe Biden has accused the Supreme Court of dealing a devastating blow against efforts to tackle the climate crisis. In a landmark ruling, the court said the federal government in Washington does not have powers to regulate greenhouse gas emissions of U.S. power plants. It means the policy can be decided by individual U.S. states. In a 6-3 ruling, the court sided with the conservative states and fossil fuel companies. Richard Ilisome reports.
In California, wildfires burning out of control are a vivid reminder of the urgent need to take action on climate change. America is a large part of the problem, the second biggest emitter of greenhouse gases in the world after China, but also a victim. You can see from the water line above the vast lake mill how much it's shrunk in recent years, impacting the water supply for millions of people in the Southwest. President Biden came into office pledging to lead a global effort to reduce carbon emissions, promising at the COP summit of Glasgow last year to lead by example.
Will we act? Will we do what is necessary? Will we seize the enormous opportunity before us? Or will we condemn future generations to suffer?
Future generations may not thank the U.S. Supreme Court for a decision that restricts the federal government's ability to regulate energy producers. The Supreme Court ruling makes it much harder for Joe Biden to try to meet his climate change goals. The court has decided that the Environmental Protection Agency does not have the authority to impose carbon limits unless there is new legislation coming from Congress. That is something Joe Biden knows he does not have enough votes to set past. Coal lies in the heart of the problem. America still relies heavily on these most polluting fossil fuel to keep the lights on. The Supreme Court case was brought by 19 mostly Republican states that were worried they could be forced to move away from using coal to generate electricity. Those are states that contribute an outsized share for America's carbon emissions and have done little so far to reduce them. California's majestic landscape is particularly vulnerable to the effects of climate change. A Democrat-run state, it is spending billions, more than most countries, to protect the environment, but that effort to be undermined by the Supreme Court ruling.
The idea that the U.S. Supreme Court moved to take away one of the most significant and historically powerful tools to address the ravages of climate change is incomprehensible.
In the states that won this case, they are celebrating a ruling that gives them a right to make their own rules on carbon emissions rather than being told what to do by Washington, and they say it will prevent a rise in the price of electricity. President Biden said he will continue to try and use every regulatory power he can to cut carbon emissions, and lashed out at what he called a devastating decision from the Supreme Court. President Biden is angry because this very conservative court that has a conservative majority has made a number of contentious decisions in the last couple of weeks, including removing the constitutional right to abortion and making it easier to carry guns in the streets. Those are decisions which are expected to have a very real effect on the lives of millions of Americans. This environmental ruling will have global impact, not only because it will inhibit America's ability to cut its own carbon emissions, but it is also going to diminish its ability to lead the world on climate change as well. That is one of the things President Joe Biden is most worried about. Richard Lesomi, Osrc News.
Now to end the news at 7, a quick look at the major stories. Security operatives have assured residents of Ondo State that they have taken proactive measures to handle an attack threat in Ilaramokin. Ondo State government has said arrangements have been perfected for the smooth conduct of common entrance examination into public secondary schools tomorrow. That's it on the news at 7. Thank you for being a part of it. Good evening.